Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconiana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we have a group of old lighters that we received in the mail over the weekend from our friend Friedrich Diehl. I got a message from Friedrich last week telling me that there was a package on the way. Said enjoy and put to good use, so that is what we intend to do. Got a nice cross section of lighters here. See over here on this side we've got 4 flip top insert style petrol lighters, what people like to call Zippo knockoffs. Over here toward this side we have some Ronson automatic type lighters. I think a couple of them actually are Ronson. That one is an ATC. That is a Ronson standard. Looks like it has lost its leather. And then looks like a Manor brand, made in Japan. We also have 3 lighters right here in the middle that were manufactured by Continental, CMC. This one marked Continental Japan. The others, these 2, marked on the bottom as CMC on the one on the left, but it says CMC New York, made in Japan. And then this one on the right, Continental New York, made in Japan. But those markings are very similar. And I do know that Continental was based in New York. But it's interesting to me that some of them are marked New York while others are simply marked as made in Japan. A couple of interesting mechanisms here as well. And just like the last group of lighters that Friedrich sent my way, if you see any of these mechanisms that you need a piece from, a part from, maybe this actuating mechanism on this squeeze lighter. We got a little snap-up mechanism here on this other Continental New York. I don't know, we'll have to dig into that, see if all the parts are there. We might even be able to rehabilitate some of these lighters and bring them back to life with some parts from elsewhere. But at the very least, we can use these parts to get other lighters up and running. And that's why I say if you see a mechanism here that you need parts from, then leave a comment down below the video. Say, hey man, that side squeeze mechanism on that Continental lighter, I'm really in need of that to get mine back up and running. Or the same with this little snap-up mechanism. Really cool lighters. Here is a bottom case for a Champ Austria flip-top petrol lighter. And a really attractive one at that. I don't know if the lid for this particular design matched it. This might make an interesting case for somebody to swap out with maybe an existing case that has some issues, maybe not as cosmetically appealing as this one is. And I don't know how that would look. It might look kind of cool with a lid that was just straight without any design on it. Or perhaps somebody is out there needing a somewhat straight case of this design because they've already got the lid and their case is messed up. Either way, I would be glad to pass any of these parts along. Got a Bowers, is it a Bowers number 10? I think that is technically what this lighter is. And it looks like that we might even be able to clean this one up, replace the file wheel, and maybe make this lighter whole again. It's got some interesting graffiti scratched onto the sides of the lighter, and definitely shows a great deal of corrosion, tarnish, and patina. Got a couple other lighters that were sent in these boxes. Here is a Ronson Adonis that is definitely missing some parts, it appears. At the very least, it's fulcrum screw and cap. There is a file wheel in there with a clutch spring. And this lighter is relatively straight. It does have some dings, scratches, but again, we can use this lighter for parts, or perhaps even take other parts and use them to make this lighter whole again and rehabilitate it. Didn't take time to count the lighters here. It looks like there's about 15 or so. Here's another automatic lighter. This one, another Ronson standard with an interesting mechanism on it. That thumb lever does not look original to a Ronson to me. And of course, missing some screws, flint spring screws, fuel screws, all that good stuff. But still, definitely some parts on that lighter that will be usable if we just get them cleaned up. Man, look at the flint buildup on that file wheel, how nasty that looks. Looks like that might be a job for some concentrated vinegar right there. And like I said, about 15 lighters or so here, and this one appears to be complete. It has its flint spring screw and fuel screw. Looks like it is marked Tissot or Tidjot. Can't read that very well. Can't tell whether those are S's or J's. Has a really interesting rubber synthetic wrap that looks to me like it is a Native American motif. Looks like it is meant to mimic some of the beadwork that you see in Native American art. But a really cool, interesting, I wouldn't call this a gumball size lighter. I'd put this more in the medium category, somewhere between a gumball and a Ronson standard. Looks like it originally had a tassel or some sort of attachment there on the back. Could have been a chain. It was marked STC. So the T would obviously, I think, be for Tissot or Tidjot or whatever that is. What the S and the C would stand for, I do not know. But I look forward to taking this lighter apart. I'm not going to strike it without knowing there is a degraded flint in there or not, but that looks like one that we can clean up and probably have working here within just a few minutes. The rest of these lighters, as I stated, are probably going to be more for parts. So once again, especially the more peculiar mechanisms here, if you have one of these CMC New York lighters that you would like to get back up and running, and you need a snuffer, thumb lever, or maybe some springs. Looks like the clutch on this one may be on the other side. It's an interesting mechanism and definitely worth investigating. So I appreciate you guys joining us today, taking a look at this group of lighters that was sent from our buddy Friedrich Diehl. And if you see a part here that could help you get a lighter you already have back up and running, leave a comment below the video and we will get back with you. Until next time.